So what's kind of the process that somebody needs to be thinking about before they meet with you and for design? What are some of the check boxes, as we call them, that, so they're prepared, so they have a reason to meet with you?
Yeah, that's a good question. So again, I'm approaching this from the device world. So I mean, your business might be something other. It might be a system or something, but you can sort of translate that. But from a device world, you have a product or a device. A group like ours, we can help you actually invent it. So we have people that come and say, I see a need, and I think I have an idea for a product that will meet this need. But I don't know how to make it real. I don't know how to turn it into something that's actually going to be commercialized, manufacturable, and actually marketable, and will actually work. So there's a few things that we like people to do early on. And I mentioned one of them earlier is understand the ROI case on it, but I think and we see this in academia a lot. So, at universities, there's people inventing stuff all the time. And they're working on something in their lab, and it's like, oh, this is great. And so they want to launch it into a product. But not everything that's a great discovery, not all of those things are great product ideas. There's a big difference. And so I'll use my example from people who come out of academia and they have something. And so what I ask them to do, one of the biggest things is I ask them to think about who their user is, who's going to be using it. And most of them have, because that's where they get the idea. Most of them have identified a user, and usually it's themselves or somebody they know. And ask, okay, what is the major need that this user has? And they might come up with one, and what I will ask them to do then is, you came up with one need. A user needs to do some major thing, and you've got an idea for a device product that's going to solve that problem. Now I'll send them back with some homework and say, now what you need to do is you need to go back and you need to find out a bunch of the small needs that are surrounding that major need, and come back to me with some of that and tell me, give me 6, 7, 8, 10 other small needs surrounding that one need that are going to make that user get excited about your solution. Because you can have a device that solves one major problem, but so will everyone else. But there's a lot of ancillary things about what's going to get that user excited, like you were talking about. What's going to emotionally connect with that user? What are they thinking emotionally that's going to make them want to do this? What are some of their smaller pain points around it? So I like them to come with a list of those smaller ones, because that's what you want to solve when you're designing the device. And honestly, that's where innovation comes from. Innovation doesn't come from somebody saying, geez, we got surgeons and they're having trouble suturing this heart valve in place, and we need a better way to suture a heart valve in place. Well, that's good if you come up with a better way. But there's a ton of other things that those surgeons are dealing with. And if you can solve all these other problems while you're delivering this core, now you've just met a user's need to a deeper level. That's going to emotionally excite them when you're meeting their needs. So you got to find out what those small needs are, and then attack it from there. And I've always heard too, what you've said is so true. I've always heard the two things that move money are trust and emotion. So this emotion aspect is huge. You have to make an emotional connection. And you don't make an emotional connection only through your pitch. Your product has to make an emotional connection itself with the user. And then you have to be able to build trust that you're going to deliver. Your product is going to deliver on all of that big need, and it's going to deliver on those ancillary needs. But then the second thing is to take all of that thinking that I just described, and now don't think about necessarily your user. Think about who are the barriers to purchasing, or who the purchaser is going to be. In a medical device, your user might be a physician, but that physician is not the person who's making a purchasing decision. It could be the hospital. Or if it's a patient that's using it, they might not be the person that's purchasing it. So think about who's going to make the buying decision, and think about all those things with that person, and see if you can work those aspects into your device. And then the third step is to take that same thinking and go one step further and think about your exit strategy again. It's like, okay, you think you're going to sell this to some large manufacturer? apply that thinking to them. What's their pain point? What are their needs as a company surrounding your potential product in their product line? And how is your company and your product and your system, how's it going to meet their needs and emotionally attack them? So it's a lot of homework to give somebody, but you can do a lot of homework on your own, and you can at least get a good idea and figure some of this stuff out just by doing some homework on the front end.